What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's second stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and stimulus news report for Wednesday, December 16th. Yesterday was a crazy day for stimulus talks, and it especially got even crazier later last night. Now, you see the title, you know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about second stimulus check, and yes, this isn't clickbait, this isn't false. There are talks that stimulus checks are coming back, that we could see stimulus checks. There is even a progressive group of over 100 members of the House of Representatives, that are considering voting no to this stimulus package in order to include stimulus checks. Yes, this isn't a lie. This is exactly what's happening. But first, let's talk about what went on last night. Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, and Kevin McCarthy are four leaders in Congress, the four corners, as what many people call them. They met late last night. Actually, they met earlier yesterday evening, met at 4 o'clock. They talked for about an hour. They adjourned. They came back at 7:30, talked for, I believe, like an hour, 15 minutes, somewhere around there. Then they adjourned again, and Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy went to Mitch McConnell's office, and they spoke there before returning and talking once again. Now, they talked for over 2 hours last night. Our four leaders talked, and Steve Mnuchin was on a phone call with them, and they talked, they negotiated, they spoke. Well, we have some news as to what they were talking about and how they are trying to get this over the finish line and finally get a stimulus package done. First off, they talked about two things. First, they talked about the government funding bill, it expires on Friday. So we have like 2 days to get that done. Right now, all reports indicate that we will get this done. We are going to see the government funding bill done because, one, it needs to be done, or else the government will shut down. But the second thing is they're coming very close, and we should see a bill on that government funding bill, that $1.4 trillion omnibus bill. We should see that sometime today based on what reports are telling us this morning. So that is good news. As for the COVID relief package, or stimulus package as I like to call it, and many people refer it to, that's probably what you know that this is being called, is the stimulus package. But Congress wants to call it a COVID relief package because it doesn't really insinuate that we are going to provide stimulus. Okay. Well, this is what the majority of the talks were about late last night, was about this stimulus package. Multiple reports out this morning were indicating that a group of, I believe it's 100 representatives and one senator, I could be wrong, but it's about 100 members, are threatening to vote against that $748 billion stimulus package if, and only if, there are no stimulus checks. They say, and we're going to get to their press release in just a minute, because this is huge, they say there needs to be stimulus checks and unemployment benefits for at least 6 months. Now, we have 4 months of unemployment benefits, and we have $0 for stimulus checks, but they're saying they want 6 months of unemployment benefits. I doubt that's going to happen, and they want stimulus checks. That's a possibility. Now, we all thought this bill wouldn't pass the Senate. We were all worried, well, we got to make sure it's going to pass the Senate, because as of right now, it's going to pass the House. Everyone's going to believe, yeah, this is perfect. This is what we need in the House, especially with the House having, or Democrats having the majority in the House. We only need 218 votes to vote yes. But if a 100 group of progressives is saying that they're going to vote no if there's no stimulus checks, this just flipped the entire thing right up on its head. Because now, what does Nancy Pelosi do? Well, as reports are saying, that she had to work and try to convince Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy that we should get stimulus checks in here. We need to do whatever we can, because if not, this bill won't pass. This bill will not pass through the House if there's no stimulus checks. So, as to what Mitch McConnell said to that, who knows? We do not know yet. We don't know how these talks, how this negotiation really progressed through the night. We have some insights from Mitch McConnell as to what they're doing. We have some insights from Chuck Schumer as well, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But just remember, there's 435 members in the House, 218 people have to say yes in order for this bill to pass. Everybody thought it wasn't going to pass through the Senate. But right now, the Senate, that looks like it's going to pass because the Senate wants, and specifically the Republicans, want to keep this bill low. The price on this bill low. Well, at $748 billion, and we're going to use about $555 billion from the CARES Act money, that's going to be about $200 billion in new appropriations. So of course, Senate Republicans are going to love this. Democrats are saying it's too low. We need to go higher. Now, here's what we need to understand. According to Politico, this group was given a time frame of they need to have their response in by today at noon. I believe noon Eastern Standard Time. I believe could be Pacific Standard Time. Don't quote me on that. But this group of progressives has to let their leader know, will they support a bill for $748 billion if it does not have stimulus checks and it has unemployment benefits but no stimulus checks? Will they support this? Right now, most reports are indicating this progressive group will not. They're going to vote against this, like I already stated. So let's read exactly what this progressive group and their leader put out yesterday so that we can get an understanding of really where they're at and potentially see if they're going to vote yes or no. So let's read this. So here's their exact quote. It says, faced with the twin crisis of an escalating pandemic and a spiraling economy, families across the nation are screaming for help. The thing our constituents are asking for us the most is, will this package put money in our pockets? Will it help keep me in my home? Will I be able to feed my kids? Congress must respond at the scale necessary and ensure that we get direct relief to people across our country. That is why the Progressive Caucus is united in our position. Any package must include direct survival checks and enhanced unemployment assistance. The two most effective ways to get money directly to people. We have been working directly with Speaker Pelosi on this priority, and we're committed to working with members of both parties to ensure that the people are prioritized in this stimulus package. So, let's break that down a little bit, because this is important to know. First off, they're saying it must include direct survival checks and enhanced unemployment assistance. Now, they want 6 months. They want 6 months of enhanced unemployment assistance. But based on reports, they'd be happy with the 4 that they were given. And they would not support this if there's no stimulus check. So as you can see, they are united. And they want to see the American people get what they should have gotten about 8 months ago. And that is a $1,200 stimulus check. The second stimulus check. Now, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say we're going to see a $1,200 stimulus check. It's possible. It's possible based off of the new information that we've been getting just this morning and late last night. But the likelihood of a $600 stimulus check is more likely. That's far more likely than $1,200 stimulus check. Now, I understand $600 is not going to do a lot, but it's something. Because right now what you need to understand is this package is supposed to be a COVID relief package, not a stimulus package. This package is only supposed to bridge the gap between here and pretty much the Biden administration. So about a month. It's really all it's supposed to do. You just bridge the gap for a month to get into the Biden administration, because based off what we heard on Monday, 2 days ago, the Electoral College voted for Joe Biden. So he will be the next president of the United States. He's President-elect Joe Biden. Now, what you need to understand is if we see a stimulus check, if it gets included and it gets passed by Friday, the 18th, we could see stimulus checks hitting our bank accounts by Christmas Day or just a few days later. Steve Mnuchin has said that he can get checks out, probably the first wave of 50 million checks to people through direct deposit. He can get those out between 7 and 10 days. That would be an incredible gesture. That would be great for the American people, especially right before the end of this year. That would be the thing to do. Now, why is all this important? Why is this important when it comes to stimulus negotiations? Why is what this group is saying now, why is this so important? This is important because if a 100-member group is threatening to block this bill from passing, then Nancy Pelosi must do whatever she can to get Mitch McConnell on board to increasing this amount from $748 billion to, let's add about $150 billion to take us right about $900 billion, which is essentially what it was before. Or let's increase it $300 billion, which is going to put us a little bit over $1 trillion. Let's push it up a little bit, because if not, this entire thing is going to pretty much fail. It's going to fall flat, because this group will, as of right now, we don't know, we could hear something different later, but as of right now, this group is said to vote against this. That would be good for Nancy Pelosi. Also, the number 2 Republican in the Senate, John Thune, he said on Monday, he said that if things were taken out, some stuff were taken out of the package, for example, state and local government funding has been taken out, if something was taken out, we could replace that thing with stimulus. We could do that. He said that's something that Republicans would be willing to do. Well, in this instance, state and local government looks like it's going to be taken out, because I don't think there's a way that we can see state and local government passing if it's tied to liability protections. I just don't see it happening. So right now, that is what is currently being said, is why don't we put in some stimulus checks in place of the state and local government funding, but in order to do that, the checks are only going to be for about $600 per person. So not $1,200, $600, but it's going to be something. Based on the reports that I have read this morning, Nancy Pelosi wanted to talk over the negotiations with Joe Biden. So they talked late last night. They talked, it was fairly late last night to them. And they spoke and they got a little bit closer. As far, not Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden, but Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell, and Kevin McCarthy, and Steve Mnuchin. Well, the reports is just saying that she wanted to talk to Joe Biden and see where he stands. Where does he stand as far as the negotiation process? See what they should be doing and where they should be headed today. So we should get some type of feedback sometime today, because today is honestly the deadline. Here's what I want you to understand. You got to keep this in mind. If negotiations drag out any further than today, we might not see a stimulus package happen until possibly next week or the week after. Or we could see the entire stimulus negotiations just completely fall apart. If a bill gets agreed upon today, then that means tomorrow, so on Thursday, the House can vote on this. If the House votes on Thursday, the Senate will vote on Friday. If the Senate votes on Friday and it passes the House and the Senate, President Trump could sign this Friday night as well. And this could go into law. Well, remember, they want to pass the stimulus package or COVID relief package by attaching it to the government funding bill, which expires on December 18th. So if all this stuff doesn't happen, if something just doesn't fall into place, then here's what I think you should expect. You should probably expect a short-term stopgap bill for government funding, or expect everything to just fall apart. That's what we know right now. However, based on what our leaders are saying, they are optimistic a deal gets done. Mitch McConnell said late last night, we're getting closer and closer. We're making significant progress, and I'm optimistic that we're going to be able to complete an understanding sometime soon. He went on to say, everybody wants to finish. Everybody wants to get a final agreement as soon as possible. We all believe the country needs it, and I think we're getting closer and closer. And according to Chuck Schumer, he said, we're just exchanging paper back and forth, and hopefully we can come to a deal soon. That's good. So all signs right now point to our leaders negotiating a little bit more, getting more of what they want before finally coming to an agreement, which needs to happen. In my opinion, it has to happen today. I think it needs to happen today. If it happens tomorrow, we could be a little bit behind. We could be rushing it, but I think it still could get done. But if we don't come to an agreement until Friday, this thing does not get done on Friday. I can guarantee that. So this is good news for stimulus checks. This could also be good news for unemployment benefits. We could see maybe another month or two. I highly doubt it, but it's possible. And if I had to guess right now, I would say the likelihood of a second stimulus check happening in this package is still somewhat small. Now, when I say small, I'm not saying like 5%, 10%. I'm saying it's probably 35 to 45%, but the majority that I'm giving it is not to see stimulus checks in this package. I just don't see how that would work based on what everybody's saying, because right now some senators say if there's stimulus checks in it, that means it's going to be too expensive. We're not going to vote on that. We're going to vote no. Many senators, many Republican senators, say they will not vote on a bill no matter what, because they don't feel that we should get any more money. We should go into debt to get out of this pandemic. Why? We've already provided about $3 trillion. That should be more than enough. The economy is recovering. We're on a V-shaped recovery. No, not quite, but that's what they're saying. So this is what we know right now. But as I know more, I promise I'll share more. So consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. Also, feel free to share this video with your friends, family, and colleagues over on Facebook as well, so they too can stay updated as well. So just want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.